Now, breaking news from WRAL. Coverage you can count on.
540 is back open in Wake County after a severe crash happened there. What we're working to learn about this crash that caused the damage you see on your screen.
And a house fire in Durham. Details of the fire that left 2 people without a home and killed their cat.
And check the wind chill as you're headed out the door this morning. It feels like 18 in Roxborough, 19 in Rocky Mount. It's 23 in Southern Pines. I'll show you why it'll be so much colder tomorrow morning.
And we're giving you a live look at the U.S. Capitol this morning. That is where Donald Trump will be sworn in as the 47th president today. Details about his first day back in office will affect North Carolina, including those executive orders he plans to sign. We'll be talking about that this morning, as well as the MLK Day events that are happening. Thanks so much for joining us here on WRAL News on Fox 50. I'm Chris Levingood.
And I'm Michelle McConaughey. It's a big day. It's a big Monday. Got you covered on everything you need to know, including your weather forecast. This is just the start of what we're going to see in the next couple of days. It's cold out there, Elizabeth.
It is cold out here or out there. It's kind of cold in here, too. But we take a live look at Apex this morning. And there are people out and about, but it's definitely chilly. 27 is our current temperature in the Triangle. We've not had a whole lot of wind right here, but there has been some wind chill in some other parts of the viewing area this morning. And we'll see much more widespread wind chill over the next 24 hours or so. The wind chill is in the box on the right, so it does feel like 19 in Rocky Mount right now. It feels like 24 in Goldsboro, 25 in Fayetteville. It's 18 in Roxborough. Feels like 20 in South Hill. So it's definitely cold out there. Hour by hour, our temperatures will be in the mid-30s this afternoon, which is well below normal. Our normal is about 20 degrees warmer than that. We have a cold weather advisory in effect for tonight. So tomorrow morning will be a WRAL alert day for temperatures feeling like 7 to 13 degrees. It's really cold for us. And then, of course, we have the potential for a little bit of light snow Tuesday night into Wednesday. So Wednesday is also a WRAL weather alert day. It looks like the bulk of the snow will actually be closer to the coast. That's where the moisture will be. And we could see less than an inch, probably closer to 1/10 of an inch in parts of our viewing area. But we'll walk through who is likely to see what coming up. Just to look at what we're tracking, the bitter cold for tonight and tomorrow, and then that snow chance for tomorrow night. Ken?
Hi, Elizabeth, at 8:02, we were seeing a little bit of congestion building on I-40 eastbound this morning between Harrison and Aviation Parkway, but you can see those whatever was building is dissipated right now, so it's all running green this morning, just free and clear. If you're using US 1 coming in from Wake Forest this morning, it'll take you about a couple minutes in terms of delay to get to 540, and then after that, it's clear sailing wherever you're headed after that. In terms of the major routes heading into the capital city this morning, again, you're just looking at a 2-minute delay coming in from Wake Forest. Over in Durham, much different scenario, just very little to no delays whatsoever. I-40 East, I-885, 15501, all free and clear this morning. You're getting ready to head out the door. Tune us in on the radio, 101.5 HD3. We'll keep you updated all morning long.
All right, thank you, Ken. Breaking news, part of 540 in Wake County is back open after a serious crash there. It happened this morning around 2:30 near Holly Springs Road. Video from the WRAL breaking news tracker shows a car with significant damage in the median. It appears it hit some guardrails. We are working to learn if anyone was hurt in this.
And 2 people are out of their home because of a house fire this morning. This happened just after 1 a.m. in Durham. The Durham Fire Department shared this photo on your screen of the flames engulfing a home on Guest Road. Firefighters were able to get the fire under control in about 20 minutes, but the house, as you saw, was significantly damaged. And what you're seeing now on your screen is what it looked like on Guest Road when the WRAL breaking news tracker arrived. A cat that was in the home died, and now the Red Cross is assisting the 2 people who lived there.
New this morning, a plane made a safe landing at RDU after midnight after being diverted for a mechanical issue. The Frontier Airlines took off from Philadelphia and was bound for Miami. It landed at RDU about 12:17 this morning. This is video from the breaking news tracker of that plane at the gate. RDU Fire and Rescue responded to the runway just out of precaution. No injuries were reported.
Today, President-elect Donald Trump will take the oath of office for the second time. He'll be sworn into office in the rotunda of the U.S. Capitol, where you are looking live this morning. The ceremony will be held inside for the first time in 40 years. That's because of bitterly cold temperatures in D.C. today. The swearing in will happen in front of a limited number of VIP guests. The parade that accompanies the ceremony will also happen indoors. This will be at Washington's Capital One Arena. The Presidential Inaugural Committee has not shared, though, whether it will be a ticketed event or open to the general public. In fact, Trump is expected to issue dozens of executive orders within hours of taking office today. Let's go ahead and bring in WRAL's Kelsey Coffey. She joins us live right now outside the state capitol. And Kelsey, some of the executive action we're talking about could have a big effect on industries here in North Carolina.
Yes, Chris, President-elect Trump is expected to issue more than 100 executive orders, and many of those could affect what happens here in North Carolina. Immigration and border security are top priorities on his agenda. North Carolina's unauthorized population is about 300,000, with more than half of those people coming from Mexico. That's according to the Migration Policy Institute. North Carolina's largest industry, agriculture, would likely take a hit from an immigration crackdown. Trump has also threatened to roll back several economic initiatives from the Biden administration. This could lead to a change in job recruitment efforts here in North Carolina. GOP analyst Michelle Woodhouse expects the new administration will prioritize Helene relief.
I'm looking forward to hearing a message of action, resolution, solutions. Those are the things that I think I'm looking forward to hearing and seeing.
Our NC Capitol team did a full breakdown of how some of Trump's policies could potentially impact our economy here in North Carolina. You can check out that story on our website, WRAL.com. Kelsey Coffey, WRAL News, live in Raleigh.
Well, we expect to see more scenes like this in the coming weeks. 3 hostages who have been held by Hamas for more than 15 months were handed over to Israel yesterday. Dozens more are expected to be released as part of the ceasefire deal that's now in place. One of them is Chapel Hill native Keith Siegel. Siegel and his wife Aviva were taken hostage by Hamas on October 7th of 2023. Aviva was released after 51 days. Siegel's friends and family are hopeful he and Aviva will soon be reunited. But while there's relief, their feelings are complex.
There's concerns because this is a compromise deal and it's not like any kind of decisive victory as people had hoped. Let's hope that whatever does emerge after the ceasefire is better for the people of Gaza and for the people of Israel.
Israel says it has released about 90 Palestinian prisoners on its side of the deal. Hamas is expected to release 4 more hostages in the next week.
Today, people in the Triangle will honor the legacy of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. with a day of service and observances. WRAL's Laura Levine joins us live from Durham. She has been there all this morning. Laura, one of those big events happening right there behind you.
Hey, Chris, good morning. We have already heard from some incredible speakers this morning, including a junior from South Garner High School speaking about radical love. That's just one part of today's purpose and mission and theme this year. Taking a live look now, you can see the crowds of people behind me listening in. We have a spokesperson from the Catholic Diocese of Raleigh right now speaking. We've also heard some musical tributes that will continue throughout the program. But as I mentioned, this year's theme for the 45th annual MLK Triangle Interfaith Prayer Breakfast is, of course, Mission Possible, the power of justice and radical love. We're going to be hearing from the keynote speaker, Dr. Donna Coltrane Battle, later this morning as well. And of course, in the spirit of Dr. King, today is a day where many people are not only coming together to reflect on his life and legacy, but they're also giving back. They're serving the community in many different ways. And we've already saw that this morning just with hundreds of volunteers who came out to set up this event and put it together. So if you can't make the event in person right now, we are live streaming everything on WRAL.com and on the news app. We will then rebroadcast the event on Fox 50 at 10 a.m. Laura Levine, WRAL News, live in RTP.
And this morning at 11, the Martin Luther King Jr. Memorial March starts in Raleigh. The march will begin at the State Capitol building. And this here is video from last year's march. Civic organizations, community leaders, families, and members of the clergy all take part in the annual event.
The Chapel Hill Carborough NAACP will commemorate Martin Luther King Jr. Day today. It starts with a rally at 10 a.m. at the Peace and Justice Plaza on East Franklin Street. People will then march to First Baptist Church on North Robinson Street, and service begins there at 11. For a list of ways you can honor the life of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. today, you can visit WRAL.com and search MLK.
Coming up, TikTok is back online, but its future is uncertain. What Donald Trump is expected to do about the app later today.
And the woman killed in a Buies Creek house fire. What family members are telling us about the great-grandmother, minister, and veteran.
And tomorrow is a WRAL weather alert day because we could wake up to wind chills in the single digits in some places. I'll walk you through it hour by hour coming up.
Good morning, Carrie. As we take, look at that. Perfect timing. The birds coming past the lens. You could not time it better as you're watching WRAL News, available on Spectrum and the WRAL app on your TV or your streaming device. What you just heard there was genuine excitement. Anytime something happens on the camera, I just get very happy with that. At White Lake, we also have the seagulls that hang out there. So I'm a bird guy. I like birds.
Chris, we didn't tell you, but we actually have somebody staged there, with the birds, and they just open the cage and there they go, right, when the music plays. Just kidding. That was really cool. Fayetteville, Raleigh, Apex, Chapel Hill, all looking nice and sunny. And we'll see that today and tomorrow. But boy, our wind is coming out of the northwest, the freight train all the way from the North Pole are really making things chilly. So hour by hour, this is our temperature without the wind chill. It's going to feel like 33 at lunchtime, and then we're going to hold it at 33 to 34 through the afternoon. It'll feel more like 25 with the wind chill. This is a look at the temperature tonight without the wind chill. I mean, we're solidly going to be in the mid to upper teens. 18 in Fayetteville, 16 in Raleigh, 15 South Hill, 12 in Roxborough. And we take a look at our wind chills to tomorrow morning. Tomorrow's a WRAL weather alert day because of these cold wind chills. It could feel like 8 in Southern Pines and Clinton, 9 in Rocky Mount, 10 in South Hill and Roxborough. So just bitterly cold tomorrow. So there is a cold weather advisory that's in effect for tomorrow morning for a wind chill of 7 to 13 miles per hour. We're also looking at the potential for a few light flurries in potentially our eastern counties on Wednesday morning. Meteorologist Chris Michael is here to talk a little bit more about how that system is shaping up.
Yeah, and the way it's shaping up is that it's continued to trend east over the past 36 hours or so. So when you look at the amount of liquid precipitation that the forecast data is showing, it's about 1/100 of an inch to 1/10 of an inch. It's really not much. And when you look at how cold the air is, that's the equivalent to about 1/1500ths of an inch of snow to 1.5 inches, that 1.5 inches being more likely toward the coast where there's more moisture to work with. And of course, there's that very cold air. If it's going to be that cold, shouldn't it just snow, right? You got to go to the coast. That's not a typo, and that's not, my brain messing with it. Literally, you got to go to the coast. Houston, New Orleans, they're under winter storm warnings. You see winter storm watches in North Florida. Just a very unique setup that favors the coast and our coastline with more snow than what we see here inland. We're diving into the very specific reason as to why that's happening on WRAL.com. That's also coming up in the next half hour. But hey, even though snow totals here are light, if you get a few hundredths of an inch or a few tenths of an inch, I should say, things could turn pretty slick. Elizabeth?
Yeah, I think some of us who've been here for a long time remember, a 1/2 inch of snow about 15 or 20 years ago just stopped everyone in their tracks. It was pretty crazy. This won't be exactly the same setup because the snow won't start until the evening. So I think when people see that start to fall, they're going to stay put for the next day or so. But I mean, we are really talking about light amounts, less than an inch. We could probably even change this to less than 1/2 an inch here in blue and maybe closer to 1/2 an inch to an inch down there. Around, say, Clinton. So this is a look at what we're expecting. Most of this is going to be along and east of US 1, the bulk of it east of I-95. So that really takes most of our viewing area out of this. But whatever falls, even if it's really light, is likely to stick because the air mass is kind of cool. It's sort of just a cruel trick for us snow lovers. We finally have enough cold air that whatever falls would be snow instead of that crazy wintry mix that we see. But we just don't have enough moisture to go along with it. And it's just is what it is. Tomorrow is a WRAL weather alert day because we have a cold weather advisory in effect in the morning. And then, of course, Wednesday for whatever may fall in our viewing area that could be frozen. After that, we're dry and a little milder for the weekend, Ken.
Yeah, little Frankie's already asking. I said, buddy, not going to happen probably. Might have to go to Wilmington, right? Hey, want to start outside I-40 and Airport Boulevard. Very light traffic to report this morning, which is good news. Some of you do have to work, and we understand that. So it's free and clear. I-40 is part of your commute this morning. For those of you coming in from Wake Forest this morning, using US 1, it'll take you an extra 3 minutes to get to 540 this morning. And once you get through 540, it's all free and clear. Let's head over to Durham. The I-885 is part of your commute going in and out of Durham. Absolutely no delays to report. And that's really some good news for you if you have to go to work. And I know most of the schools are off as well. Listen, it's a situation where we're looking at nothing but green showing up on all our major routes this morning, from Wendell to Raleigh-Durham, Chapel Hill, and Apex, all delay-free this morning. You're getting ready to head out, 101.5 HD3. We'll keep you updated all morning long.
All right, thanks, Ken. President-elect Donald Trump says he will travel to California on Friday to see the damage caused by wildfires there. The fires that have been burning since January 7th have now claimed at least 27 lives. Thousands of homes have been destroyed. The largest fire, the Palisades fire, now about 56% contained. It has burned more than 23,000 acres. The Eaton fire is more than 80% contained. 7 other fires that have sparked in the last 2 weeks have been extinguished.
It's unclear how much longer Americans will actually be able to use TikTok. A law meant for it to be banned in the U.S. was actually still going as of this day. Amy Kiley explains why exactly the social media platform is still operating in America.
TikTok is back.
TikTok is back online after a weekend outage, but its future remains uncertain. A law banning it, barring sale to a non-Chinese buyer, is still in effect. Time is up and no sale has happened. So how is TikTok still operating? The company credits President-elect Donald Trump. He says he plans to issue an executive order today to delay the ban and give TikTok more time to change ownership.
So they'll have a partner, the United States, and they'll have a lot of bidders, and the United States will do what we call a joint venture.
But analysts say technology companies that support TikTok now could be taking a risk.
If he issues an order, what he will basically have to say is that the companies that are charged with implementing the law won't be fined.
The law says companies that violate the ban face up to a $5,000 fine per user.
If I'm the general counsel of those companies, I do not like this situation right now.
Trump's actions around TikTok could face court challenges. Republican Senators Pete Ricketts and Tom Cotton say there's no legal basis for an extension of the ban's effective date. Politicians in both parties argue saving TikTok would require a new law.
Republicans, of course, control the House and the Senate, and there will be a Republican president at 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue. We're anxious to see what ideas they present.
That was Amy Kiley reporting. President Joe Biden was in South Carolina during his final full day in office. He and First Lady Jill Biden took a tour of the International African American Museum in Charleston. After the tour, President Biden reflected on history and the importance of keeping it in the forefront.
We must know the good, the bad, and the truth about who we are. That's what great nations do. And we're a great nation.
Following their visit, the Bidens returned to the White House for the final time.
We're getting a better idea of the damage in Gaza as displaced Palestinians return to their homes. The UN says 92% of housing units are destroyed or damaged. A recent report indicates the war affected a total of 436,000 housing units. Additionally, nearly 2 million people are in urgent need of emergency shelter and essential household items. The UN says that 90% of the population across Gaza has been displaced.
The man suspected of carrying out a shooting at a North Hills restaurant has died. Raleigh police say 34-year-old George Colum died yesterday morning from his injuries. Witnesses say the executive chef of Coquette opened fire inside the restaurant on Friday morning. 26-year-old Jonathan Schaefer was killed, and 24-year-old Jonathan Aguilar was shot in the hand. Police say Colum then turned the gun on himself. And over the weekend, friends of Schaefer taped heartfelt goodbyes to the windows of the restaurant. A GoFundMe has been set up to cover the funeral expenses, and it'll also help pay staff while the restaurant is closed. So far, the GoFundMe has raised more than $20,000. You can find a link on WRAL.com.
A family member of a woman who died in a Harnett County house fire last weekend says the victim's name is Karen Jean Ray. Ray's grandchild says she was 68 years old. Her relative tells us Ray was an Air Force veteran and minister, as well as a proud mother of 5, a grandmother of 22, and a great-grandmother of 10 children. The fire happened on Kivett Road 1 week ago and destroyed the house, but no word just yet on what started the fire.
Fuquay-Varina police say a husband shot his wife at their home and then turned the gun on himself. Officers responded to the home on Highwater Place on Saturday night. They found 59-year-old Kathleen Lesniak and 63-year-old George Lesniak shot to death. Police say George Lesniak's injury appeared self-inflicted.
Drug dealers in North Carolina are expected by law to pay taxes on their drugs.
People don't want to go down to a government agency and say, hey, I have illicit drugs. I need a stamp.
And yet, the law also says tax collectors are not allowed to tell police. Tonight at 6 o'clock, WRAL investigates the state's illicit drug tax, why we have it, how much it actually makes, and why some people argue it's double jeopardy for others already facing criminal charges. Again, that story is tonight at 6.
Extended support for those hurt most by Helene. The decision to extend a FEMA program that provides shelter to people whose homes were destroyed.
Plus, showdowns for a ticket to the Super Bowl. Where and when to watch the NFC and the AFC championships.
And you are looking live at the 45th annual Martin Luther King Jr. Interfaith Prayer Breakfast. We are streaming the entire event right now on WRAL.com. It will replay at 10 a.m. here on Fox 50. Details of this and other MLK Jr. holiday events still ahead.
As you get into your car, tune to WRAL News Plus on your radio in Raleigh on 99.3 FM, in Durham 96.5 FM, and everywhere on 101.5 HD3.
Good morning. Happy Monday. Time now is 8:26. I'm Michelle McConaughey. Meteorologist Elizabeth Gardner standing by with what our temperatures feel like right now. It's cold out there.
It is cold out there. 27 in Wilson and Durham, 29 in Fayetteville. And the whirligigs are moving a little faster now than they were. The wind is going to be an issue for us through the day and overnight tonight as well. Take a look at our hour-by-hour wind chill. It's going to feel like 26 to 27 just this afternoon. So really cold. Cold weather advisory for tonight into tomorrow morning. It's going to feel like 7 to 13 tomorrow morning as you head out the door. So tomorrow is a WRAL weather alert day. We're still looking at the potential for some very light snow Tuesday night. Ken?
Elizabeth, happening now in the WRAL Traffic Center, 827 is the live look at I-40 and Airport Boulevard. Traffic flowing nicely in both directions. In terms of other major routes heading into the capital city this morning, you're just looking at a 2-minute delay coming in from Wake Forest, but that's nothing that's going to make you late. Over in the Bold City, very little to no delays coming into Durham this morning.
Thanks, Ken. You are looking live at the 45th annual Martin Luther King Jr. Interfaith Prayer Breakfast. The event focuses on the legacy of MLK Jr. with this year's title being Mission Possible, the Power of Justice and Radical Love. And we are streaming the entire event right now on WRAL.com. It'll replay at 10 a.m. on Fox 50. A Frontier Airlines plane made a safe landing at RDU after being diverted for a mechanical issue. The flight took off from Philadelphia and was bound for Miami. It landed at RDU at 12:17 this morning. RDU Fire and Rescue responded to the runway out of precaution. No injuries were reported. Next on Fox 50, how Trump immigration policies could affect North Carolina agriculture. And up next on Today, behind the scenes of moving in and out of the White House.
Shot in 4K ultra high definition. Your number one source for local news. WRAL News. Coverage you can count on.
Breaking this morning, this is what's left of a car that crashed on 540 this morning. What we are working to learn from the WRAL Breaking News Tracker.
And an emergency landing at RDU. Why a flight to Miami was forced to make a stop here.
And just how cold is it as you head out the door with the wind chill? It feels like 19 in Roxborough and Rocky Mount. Feels like 23 in Southern Pines. I'll show you why it's going to feel a lot colder tomorrow morning.
And right now, people are gathered to celebrate the legacy of Martin Luther King Jr. Details from the 45th annual Interfaith Prayer Breakfast in his honor. We will have more on that coming up. Thanks for joining us. I'm Michelle McConaughey.
I'm Chris Levingood. Yeah, plenty on that, as well as the inaugural events that we're talking about today for President-elect Donald Trump. But the big thing we're also talking about, it's cold outside. Definitely may want to have the base layers on, at least when you head out today. We've got Elizabeth Gardner to get you started.
We take a live look at Chapel Hill. Pretty deserted out here. I think they must be on a holiday today because of the Martin Luther King Jr. holiday. I know a lot of people like to take today as a day of service, and that's going to be a bit more difficult outside today. It's going to be plenty sunny, but just really cold. Temperature 27 in the Triangle. Right now our wind is calm, so we don't have a wind chill here in the Triangle. But there is one in South Hill. It's 27, but feels like 21. It's 27, but feels like 19 in Rocky Mount. Feels like 24 in Goldsboro, 26 in Clinton. Harrison, and it is 23 there in Southern Pines. So it's a cold start for us. Our temperatures will be chilly all day. We were in the 50s on Saturday and Sunday, so this is going to be almost 20 degrees colder as we just keep it there in the low to mid 30s. And then tomorrow is a WRAL weather alert day because we have a cold weather advisory in effect tonight and tomorrow morning. It'll feel like 17 to 13 tomorrow morning. So just, make sure everybody's bundled up. I know Wake County schools are out tomorrow. Maybe there's some other school systems out as well, which would be good. Our snow forecast for Tuesday night into Wednesday, very light snow. Likely to see less than a half an inch really across the bulk of our viewing area, except down to the south. We're going to talk about why that is coming up. But this is really going to be more of a coastal storm than it will be for us. So a couple things we're watching. The bitter cold for the next several days, that chance of some light snow. And what does that mean for the roads? It could be slick even if we have some very small amounts. Ken?
Oh, Elizabeth, I'm very glad Franklin does not have preschool tomorrow, let me tell you. I know other parents feel the same way about the kids. Here's a live look at I-440 and Lake Boone Trail. Not much traffic to report on this holiday morning. We do appreciate that, though. If you got good to work, we understand that. So nothing but free and clear this morning on the northern loop of the Beltline. Those of you using coming from Wake Forest using US 1 to get to 540, you're just looking at a 2-minute delay. Nothing that's going to make you late whatsoever. Similarly in Durham, if I-885 going in and out of the Bull City is part of your morning commute this morning, nothing to report. Zero's running wild. We can really live with that as you get ready to head out. Really, we're not seeing any major routes, any major issues on any of our major routes. From Wendell, you come to Knightdale, Wake County, all the Beltline, Raleigh, Durham, Chapel Hill, all those major routes are delay-free. You're getting ready to head out this morning. Traffic is constantly changing. Tune us in on the radio. We keep you updated at 101.5 HD3.
Part of 540 in Wake County is back open after a serious crash this morning. It happened around 2:30 near Holly Springs Road. Video from the WRAL breaking news tracker shows a car with significant damage in the median. It appears it hit some guardrails, but we are working to learn from investigators what exactly happened here and if anyone was injured.
2 people are out of their home after a fire broke out just after 1 o'clock this morning in Durham. The Durham Fire Department shared this photo of flames engulfing a home on Guess Road. Crews were able to get the fire under control in about 20 minutes, but the house was significantly damaged. This is what it looked like on Guess Road when the WRAL breaking news tracker got there. A cat in that home died. The Red Cross is helping the 2 people who live there.
New this morning, a plane made a safe landing at RDU after midnight because it was diverted for a mechanical issue. The Frontier Airlines flight took off from Philadelphia and was bound for Miami. It landed at RDU around 12:17-ish this morning. This is video from the WRAL breaking news tracker of the plane at the gate. RDU Fire and Rescue responded to the runway just as a precaution, but no injuries were reported.
Today, President-elect Donald Trump will take the oath of office for the second time. He'll be sworn into office in the rotunda of the U.S. Capitol at noon. That's where you are looking live right now. The ceremony will be held inside for the first time in 40 years because of bitterly cold temperatures in D.C. today. The inaugural parade will also happen indoors. It'll be at Washington's Capital One Arena. Now, it's not clear whether it'll be a ticketed event or open to the general public. The arena holds fewer than 20,000 people, far fewer than the 250,000 that are expected for the outdoor parade. The Secret Service says it is preparing to handle huge crowds that may need to be turned away. And Trump is expected to issue dozens of executive orders within hours of taking office today. WRAL's Kelsey Coffey shares how some of that executive action could have a big impact on industries here in North Carolina.
President-elect Trump is expected to issue more than 100 executive orders, and many of those will have an impact on what happens here in North Carolina. Immigration and border security are the top priorities on his agenda. North Carolina's unauthorized population is about 300,000, with more than half of those people coming from Mexico. That's according to the Migration Policy Institute. North Carolina's largest industry, agriculture, would likely take a hit from an immigration crackdown. Trump has also threatened to roll back several economic initiatives from the Biden administration. This could lead to a change in job recruitment efforts here in North Carolina. GOP analyst Michelle Woodhouse expects the new administration will prioritize Helene relief.
I expect to see immediate changes with FEMA the bureaucratic red tape that's impeding the rebuild in Western North Carolina.
Our NC Capitol team did a full breakdown on how some of Trump's actions could impact our state's economy. You can check out that story right now on our website, WRAL.com. Kelsey Coffey, WRAL News in Raleigh.
Happening right now in the WRAL Live Center, we have a statement from General Mark Milley, the former Joint Chiefs of Staff chairman who was just pardoned by President Biden this morning. The pardon is to shield him from any criminal prosecution by the incoming president. The retired general says in a statement, quote, "My family and I are deeply grateful for the president's action today. After 43 years of faithful service in uniform to our nation, I do not wish to spend whatever remaining time the Lord grants me fighting those who unjustly might seek retribution for perceived slights." Milley has been an outspoken critic of Donald Trump, and Trump has called Milley a traitor. Biden also preemptively pardoned Dr. Anthony Fauci and members and staff on the committee that investigated the January 6th attack. Biden said, quote, "These public servants have served our nation with honor and distinction and do not deserve to be targets of politically motivated prosecutions."
Today, people here in the Triangle are honoring the legacy of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. with a day of service and observances. WRAL's Laura Levine joins us live from Durham. And Laura, how are they sharing the civil rights leaders' message there at that event?
Chris, it has been a beautiful morning here inside the Sheraton. As you see behind me, hundreds of people gathering to honor Dr. King's life mission to justice and equality, and the moment that everyone has been waiting for happening right now. The keynote speaker just took the stage here. You're looking at Dr. Donna Coltrane Battle. She's a spiritual practitioner, soul coach, and educator, and her work centers on justice and healing. The theme of this year's 45th annual Interfaith Prayer Breakfast is called Mission Possible, the power of justice and radical love. And we've heard from several speakers throughout the course of the morning speak on that very topic. And many people, again, coming together to honor Dr. King's life and legacy. Of course, if you're not here right now at the event, it's okay, because not only are we live streaming this event on WRAL.com and on the news app, but we're going to have a rebroadcast of everything that took place. You can find that on Fox 50 at 10 a.m. And when they leave here, when they wrap up, the group's going to be heading to downtown Raleigh for that annual MLK March. Laura Levine, WRAL News, live in RTP.
Your time is 8:39 this morning. FEMA has extended transitional housing assistance for people impacted by Helene in Western North Carolina. FEMA approved an additional 60 days for people to find alternative housing. That move happened based on a request from Governor Josh Stein and because of the severity of Helene's damage and aftermath. What this means is the last night of stay is moved from March 26th to May 25th. Hotel checkout is now May 26th.
Two of the NFL's best squared off in the snow in Buffalo for a chance to go to the AFC Championship game. Josh Allen and the Buffalo Bills took a 21-10 lead into halftime against the Baltimore Ravens. But the game came down to the final moments. Lamar Jackson connected with Isaiah Likely for a touchdown with less than 2 minutes to go to get Baltimore within 2 points. But their attempt to tie it on a 2-point conversion ended with a dropped pass. The Bills get the win 27-25 and move on to next week's conference championship game.
Philadelphia Eagles star running back Saquon Barkley had a huge game Sunday. He broke off a 62-yard touchdown run in the first quarter against the LA Rams, and there he goes. Then, as the snow fell in the fourth quarter, he sprinted down the field for a 78-yard touchdown. He ended up with 205 rushing yards in the game. Doesn't even slip. How about that? That's the fourth most by any player in a playoff game in history. The Eagles beat the Rams 28-22 to move on to the playoffs.
Ask any Giants fan what they think about Saquon Barkley. My goodness. All right, well, the Eagles, they will play the Washington Commanders in the NFC Championship game on Sunday. You can watch that game on Fox 50. Kickoff will be at 3. And the Buffalo Bills, they will play the Kansas City Chiefs in the AFC Championship game. Kickoff for that one on Sunday is 6:30. The winners of those two games will play each other in the Super Bowl, February 9th.
Your time is 8:41 this morning. President-elect Donald Trump spoke to supporters ahead of today's inauguration. This morning, how the incoming president addressed the people of North Carolina during the event.
And an R-rated comedy film took top spot over Disney's Mufasa. Just ahead, the box office top 5 featuring SZA and Keke Palmer's new movie. Welcome back on your Monday morning as you take a live look over North Hills. Beautiful blue skies, but if you're headed there today, maybe do some shopping or catch a movie. Bring the coat with you because it sure is cold, but not nearly as cold as what it's going to feel like tomorrow. Meteorologist Elizabeth Gardner, we're getting ready for some really cold temperatures.
We are. It's going to be cold enough today, and then it just keeps doing this as we get through the week. Here's a live look at Fayetteville. Beautiful sunshine, a little bit on the breezy side. Even Fayetteville's cold this morning. This is a look at what's happening here in the Triangle, 27. The dew point's 13. That just means it's very dry, and it's likely to stay dry as we see that system coming in to bring us the potential for some snow. That's another hurdle that it will have to cross is a very dry air mass. Some of that, it may show up on the models from Durham to Raleigh as, a tenth of an inch. A lot of that may evaporate before it even reaches the ground. But let's talk a little bit more about temperatures. 23 Southern Pines and Roxborough. It's 27 Rocky Mount, 31 in Goldsboro. Around town this afternoon, 34 in Raleigh, 33 Durham, 38 in Fayetteville. That's a big drop as compared to yesterday. Yesterday and Saturday, we were closer to around 50, so much, much cooler. Colder temperatures tonight too. Waking up this morning to mid-20s to around 30, but 16 tomorrow morning in Southern Pines, 18 in Goldsboro, 15 in South Hill and in the Triangle, and then the wind chill on top of that is likely to feel like single digits in some places. Durham, Rocky Mount, Clinton, Fayetteville, Southern Pines, and almost single digits for everybody else. So tomorrow is a WRAL weather alert day because of these very cold temperatures that we may see tomorrow morning. We do have a cold weather advisory that's in effect for tomorrow morning. Wind chill 7 to 13 miles per hour. We've talked about the fact that it just doesn't look like we're going to see a whole lot of snow here. Meteorologist Chris Michael is here to talk more about why that is and who's going to get it.
Yeah, right. Usually we say, book a trip to the mountains. No, book a trip to the beach this time. It's wild, right? New Orleans and Houston, Destin, Florida, even Wilmington and Charleston, South Carolina standing the better chance for some snow. In fact, you can go ahead and check out some of these totals that are being projected, and you see Houston, New Orleans, 3 to even 6 inches of snow. Wilmington, 1 inch to 2 inches. Augusta, Georgia, less than 1 inch. We're looking at maybe a few tenths. So why is it that the beach is getting it, but this far inland, not so much? Really has to do with kind of the shape or the direction of our storm system. You see that dip? That's a trough, basically a storm system, but it's tilted to the east. So all that moisture is riding the coast, and it's really not being pulled back farther to the west. In fact, I can show you all that Arctic dry air that's coming in from the west. That's really going to limit how much we see. Again, 1 inch or more is more likely at the coast this time around. But Elizabeth, even if it's a few tenths of an inch with how cold it's been, that could be briefly slick.
It can be. And I think a lot of folks who have been around for a long time remember a couple of instances where it was really cold and just a little bit of snow fell, and it really did cause a lot of problems. This one's pretty heartbreaking, I think, for snow lovers, because it's rare that we have cold enough temperatures that it would all be snow. We just need the moisture. And of course, Chris said, and we've been talking about the fact that it's just not going to be here. It's just not going to be in our area. So this is a look at our snowfall forecast. Wednesday is a WRAL weather alert day because even if we do see a 1/2 inch of snow or 1/10 of an inch of snow from Raleigh southward, those are places that could get slippery and could cause some problems for travel. Of course, as Chris said, the storm's going to be offshore Tuesday night, Wednesday morning, and we'll see just a little bit of moisture back inland, which is why our amounts will be so low. And as he said, a better chance at the coast that we would see 1 inch or more. Cold ground ahead, so it could be a little bit slippery out there. Our high temperatures will be chilly, 32 on Wednesday and on Thursday, and then or Tuesday and Wednesday. And then after that, we do start to warm up a little bit closer to normal for Saturday and Sunday.
All right, thanks, Elizabeth. People in the Northeast are dealing with dangerously cold temperatures this week. This comes after a snowstorm moved through parts of New Jersey, Delaware, and Pennsylvania yesterday. People are being asked to stay off the roads if they can.
Houston is bracing for a winter storm that could dump up to 6 inches of snow and sleet today and tomorrow. There's concern it could force the closure of the city's airports. Sand and brine trucks and utility trucks are lined up, ready to go. They're anticipating what the mayor of Houston is calling a serious and dangerous storm. Schools and government offices will be closing, and the mayor says the city's 2 airports will actually be closed starting at midnight.
Well, crews worked over the night to clear the snow from sidewalks in D.C. Icy sidewalks and slippery roads are just part of the equation as people head out for Inauguration Day. The snow is creating a bit of a challenge for some of the visitors in town for the event.
Ooh, it's different, for sure. It's definitely different. Not used to this back home.
No, he's not. He's from here, North Carolina. Authorities are urging people to take the cold seriously and make sure they are prepared.
Ahead of the inauguration, President-elect Donald Trump held a Make America Great Again rally in Washington. More than 20,000 supporters attended that event last night. Trump talked about his plan for the, quote, largest deportation operation in U.S. history. He also gave his condolences to the people affected by wildfires in California. North Carolinians were also addressed as he acknowledged the struggles that those who live in the mountains have experienced after Helene.
State troopers arrested a man who led them on a chase in a stolen car. They say 21-year-old Ricky Jackson of Wake Forest is charged with larceny of a motor vehicle, possession of a stolen motor vehicle, felony flee to elude arrest, and possession of a stolen firearm. Troopers say they tried to pull over a Dodge Charger speeding on I-440 on Wednesday. That's when a chase started. It eventually ended on South Saunders Street when a patrol vehicle rear-ended another patrol vehicle, slowing for a red light. No one was injured.
An alumni coalition says it wants answers from St. Augustine's leaders about a land lease deal. Save SAU sent a letter to the board and the president. They're demanding information about the school's deal with Florida-based development firm 50+1 Sports. The coalition says a 99-year lease is like selling the entire campus. They want the board to release all documents and meet with the community. WRAL did reach out to St. Augustine's University for a response, and a spokesperson tells us they are aware of that request and will provide a comment at a later time.
The city of Raleigh is holding an open house for the Tarboro Road Park project. You can explore current design plans, meet Raleigh's park staff and the design team, and share your ideas and feedback. There are plans to build a new community center, new outdoor amenities and recreational features, and also make improvements to the existing St. Monica's Teen Center. The park's bond also provides $150,000 for public art. The meeting is tomorrow from 5 to 7 at the Tarboro Road Community Center.
An R-rated comedy tops the weekend box office with a family-friendly favorite close behind. David Daniels shares the weekend's top-grossing films.
You're welcome. Den of Thieves 2 Pantera fell from 1st to 5th on $6.6 million in ticket sales. Sonic the Hedgehog 3 showed up in 4th place, grossing $7.9 million. Wolfman debuted 3rd. The horror movie opened with $10.6 million.
Places to go, kingdoms to see.
Mufasa the Lion King stayed in 2nd, earning $11.5 million.
You want a loan? What are the interest rates? There. Thought that was the year of establishment.
3 Good Days for One of Them Days. The comedy starring Keke Palmer and SZA made $11.6 million to debut #1. In Hollywood, I'm David Daniel.
MLK Day, you can help people recovering from Hurricane Helene in western North Carolina. 2 nonprofits, the Camden Institute and Note in the Pocket, are teaming up today to hold a donation drive. They will be collecting items like coats, snow boots, long johns, and like new clothing to help keep kids in the Triangle and western North Carolina warm this winter. They are also helping to replace technology that was lost during Helene. Dozens of laptops, cell phones, and tablets are welcome. The drive will be from 10 until 2 in Durham at MLK Jr. Parkway and South Roxborough Street.
Nonprofit Rise Against Hunger will recognize the MLK Day of Service today. More than 800 volunteers will gather to pack more than 150,000 meals for people all across the world. The work will happen at Marbles Kids Museum as well as at the Rise Against Hunger's Raleigh warehouse. So a lot of things that are happening for MLK Day that we are tracking here at WRAL.
A lot of good things. And before we go to break, here are your winning lottery numbers. We'll get another check on weather and traffic that's coming up next.